Morning, everyone. So my son said to me, he goes, Dad, do you know who Eminem is? And then I felt old. So, this is me. It's a little story about my family farm and where it goes next. If it goes next. Click it. There's quite a few buttons on this one. Ah, is it that one? Or is it that one? Anyone? Help? Here we go. Okay, so again, I want to say thank you very much to the New York Produce Show for having me here. Welcome, everyone. And thank you to Jim. And thank you to Tommy Layton. Thank you to the team. I've got a couple of logos here. Again, we're talking a little bit about branding. So we've got the New York Produce Show, London Produce Show. I'm part of the National Fruit Show now, and the Under-40s, and Elvis. Apparently, he sat back where I am in the 60s in this very ballroom. So effectively, everyone who stands here today stands where the king stood. Very much. So our family farm and our way of life, it's just a picture that I took down the marsh, got Robert the shepherd herding a few sheep this springtime with a few swans on the stream. It tells a story, but yeah, we're pretty lucky to have this way of life. A little bit about our family and our roots. So, yes, an old timer, as Jim said. 1793, Peter Chandler. He had about 11 hectares of land. So in total, that's 223 years of farming, there or thereabouts. And I represent the 8th generation of our family farm. Now, as farms go in the UK, it's reasonable size, but as it might go in America, we're pretty small time, but 600 hectares. And that's divided into 3 sectors, but we've also got the butchery as well. So you've got the arable fruit and the livestock. So this is a picture of my brother on the combine and Dad driving the tractor. This was back in the summer. So they run the Arable Enterprise, and basically it comprises of 130 hectares of Group 3 biscuit wheat, producing roughly 1,300 tonnes a year. 20 hectares for barley, and that goes for our cattle. 20 hectares of oilseed rape, so cooking oils, and we've got 10 hectares of beans, which goes for human consumption in North Africa. 20 hectares of potatoes, producing, give or take, about 1,000 tonnes a year, and this all goes to the local chippies, because of where we're actually situated, we're in the southeast of the UK. So there's a lot of seaside towns with chippies, and I say that's where the majority of it goes. Our previous combine harvesters. So the red combine, that was a Massey Ferguson, and you got my great uncle Robert there, and my grandfather driving the lorry. That was actually our first fully automated combine as what we recognise a combine today. Whereas on the right-hand side, well, the black and white photo is my great-grandfather with Mr. Henderson on the back, and yeah, a little bit different to nowadays. The other enterprise is the fruit, so it's 200 hectares, producing, give or take, 3,000 tonnes a year. It depends how the season goes. We're very, our industry, we don't have a roof, do we? So Mother Nature's a bit of a cow sometimes. So we had about 40 varieties of apples and pears back in the 70s, and it just shows you how consumers have changed. We have 8 now. We're still cropping the same area, but we just supply what people want, and that comprises of 25% of that is Cox, 25% is Gala, 20% Jazz, 10% Braeburn, and so on. We've got plums and we've got pears. In there's Smitten. That's another variety that's becoming of interest to consumers. And we're working with our marketing company, and we've actually planted up another probably, 30,000 trees in the last 24 months of smitten. We're actually one of the largest, we've got 100,000 jazz trees in the ground. So we're one of the largest UK jazz growers. And I think it's about the only thing that might be a force to reckon with against the likes of the giant pink lady. It's our kind of, I look at it as our English version of pink lady. Great apple, great storability. We've also got a pre-sizer. We did have a grader. We had a grader packer, but we ended up going to a pre-sizer, and that was, again, it was reducing cost before it goes for the final packing. We have several pack houses around our way. And also, from a point of ecology in the orchard, reduced in residue levels on our apples, we're working closely with East Malling Research and some of their scientists just to improve the wildlife in the good old-fashioned way. So this was one of our first graders. My great-grandfather, he stands somewhere in the back there. And if you think of current modern-day graders, I mean, this is pretty simplistic. And again, next to that is my great-grandfather and strawberry picking with wicker baskets. And say that was, crikey, I don't know how many years ago now. Must be a good 150, that. There's Uncle Roger, not the cows, the chap just standing on the side. And he's got our pedigree Sussex herd, and my grandfather established that back in 1942 as the Goldston herd. In actual fact, he was demonised at the time because if you notice, none of the cows there have got horns. He bred a polled breed, and effectively it was just to reduce them taking knocks out of each other and knocks out of him. We've actually started doing, just thinking about customer trends, we've actually got 6 even now, Wagyu cattle. And it's with our butchery, and sort of working closely with the consumers and current trends. The Wagyu steak is fetching considerably higher prices. So the herd consists of 100 breeding pedigree Sussex and their followers, their calves. We've also got 500 Romney sheep and their followers. And they've been winning prizes for a long time. It's a big part of our heritage. And again, it's about establishing our brand, and it's just another avenue of somewhere else to get us recognised in those shows. So continuing the great work. There's Jordan. He's my next door neighbour. When I say next door neighbour, where we live in the country, it's almost like a little village. We've got a load of family houses and a load of guys who work on the farm. They're all there. So Jordan's my next door neighbour. He's next to Rog there, and that's at the Royal Show. And yes, we rub shoulders with royalty now and again. That was the show times back in the 90s, and that was at the Royal Show when Rog cleared up there and did really well with our cattle. So another proud moment. So this is my cousin Alice. This is the butchery. It was a very natural progression. We got a great herd. We thought, people kept asking us, where does the meat go? Where can I buy the meat? So in the end, we got a porter cabin. It was originally made, prepped up ready for sandwich making, but we bought that cheap. We started small, and eventually, say about 16 years later, we've got this cracking butchery, and we actually converted one of our old feed stores, and it looks fantastic. It does. So yeah, cousin's the manager, and we make our own sausages, Scotch eggs, sausage rolls, pies. It's really, really dangerous, actually, on a Saturday morning. I go down there with the kids, and if you don't have breakfast, I'll have the sausages, I'll have a couple of pies, I'll have some Scotch eggs, and you end up buying the shop. It's great. So yeah, we supply local pubs, restaurants, and Also, going back to what Jim was speaking about, and the food boxes where you get your couple of fresh bits of veg, fruit, and we actually do that. We do a little bit of that. We're involved with another company, so they come up to the butchery, they pick up X, Y, Z of what the customers order online. They put that into boxes along with other things that they get from other suppliers, and and so on and so on. So yeah, it's quite a young venture in comparison to the sort of, the farm being over 200 years old. There's the converted butchery. It used to be the grain store, the feed store. And on the back, you can just see that rendered bit slopes down almost like a little annex, and that's where the carcasses come straight from a local. It's the same one that Gordon Ramsay had his pig slaughtered in, the local abattoir, which is only about a 5-minute drive. So again, we're thinking about animal welfare and taking all those into consideration. You don't want to stress the animals, and so we get it from a local abattoir, straight in the back there, cutting room, and then we've got the front of shop. So again, also trying to engage with customers. We've got only a few years ago, we got a butcher's mobile trailer, and my cousin and Rog are there with the local mayor, and we'll do a farmer's market on a Thursday, on a Sunday, and again, it's just another way of getting us out there, because sometimes people can't make it down to the butchery. It's a little bit out of the way, and it's a nice trip for most people, but with some of the old deers in some of the local towns, it's perfect for them, us going to see them. Yeah, because Dad said so. So we've got a World War II fake airstrip. Hopefully not too many World War II bombs as well. So not far from us, literally, we say a stone's throw, but it's about a mile or so as the crow flies from our marshes. We've got Manston. Manston's where you American guys had your B-52s in the Second World War. It's huge runway. And when the Germans came over, they'd flick off the lights for Manston, and that concrete, or what's left of it, structure in the field there, that was the housing for the generator that powered the fake airstrip. So we'd turn that on, and then they'd bomb us, or maybe the cows. And so far no one's blown up since cultivating the land around there. And then the other slide is my brother in the World Cup Combine. So my cousin, Roger Laxon, he's got Flying Ferns. Flying Ferns, they do a load of the aerial shots and photography for BBC Countryfile and other people. And he thought, well, why not? We'll do something for the World Cup. And one of the slides on the intermission was my brother combining. And I don't think he actually combined the Rugby World Cup 2015. If he did, he's pretty skillful, but doubt it very much. So this is me, this is my journey to date. I started back in 1999, again, 18 years, predominantly working in top fruit. I will turn my hand if Dad needs me, running some trailers for the harvester, potato harvester, whatever, or I go on the grader. But predominantly, picking, pruning, planting, supervising, spraying and thinning. And I even, just because I enjoy engaging with customers, I even had 3 years working in, a pretty high-end restaurant, local one, which actually used our meat. So I was really interested about the whole, the farm field, the butchery, and then seeing the finished product. And I actually ended up getting offered a job there to chef full time. But again, my loyalty, my heart is with the farm, and that's where I stayed. Currently now, as of about 3.5, 4 weeks ago, I'm managing one of the enterprises now, the fruit enterprise, or say 100 hectares of that, which is a tremendous honour for me. I'm very overwhelmed by it all, and hopefully I can continue the good work from my forefathers. So farming to me, it's a way of life. It's a great way of life. It can become very insular. I suffer massively from verbal diarrhea, so I can't talk farming all day to my wife. God bless her, but I need someone else to talk to. I need someone to sort of engage with, someone else who does the same thing that I do, and I chew off their ear about it. And I think it's very important also recognising some of our costs as a business, because 60% of our costs are incurred when that fruit leaves the gate. Now, up until 2014, I didn't really leave the gate, hence the opening slide. So how do I do that? How do I engage? How do I get to know the rest of my industry? These guys. They've been going a little while. It's actually going to be our 50th anniversary in 2017. So Professor John Huston, he established it all. And it was what we wanted to do, we wanted to bring together a lot of young people, he did, and it was about networking, it was about meeting, people, different sectors of your industry, and it was just giving the younger generation a voice. It offers a fantastic networking opportunity to the young growers, and it makes sort of the whole transition of business so much more fluid and natural. If something happens with one of the sprayers on the farm, if something happens to one of the graders, I can phone up one of the guys and, how's it going, mate? And already you've got that kind of rapport, and I think that's essential. So, yeah, this is us guys now. This is my current committee in the picture, and I still want to retain the core values of what was set out originally. So I have a biennial conference, and basically we go abroad every other year. So last year we went to Benelux. We looked, at nurseries. We looked at farmers and pack houses. We are really, really lucky and fortunate that we have, due to this networking, we have a great bunch of sponsors, including the London Produce Show. And what that basically does, if you want to go to Cape Town, which there's one or two in this room that will be, you can go there for a week for £450. That is your flights, that is your accommodation, that's the travel, that's going to see all the farms and your food. Now, there are some farmers who simply don't have the funds to go and do a package that we're offering, but we can only offer that package with the support of our sponsors. So thank you to them, a big thank you. So the other great thing is, although it is the under 40s, not everyone is under 40. So all the growers will be, but what makes up the rest of that group will be people, i.e. sponsors, representatives of other parts of our industry. And for them, for us, they've got the experience, and that's all about passing that down, because that's invaluable. And this is what, again, the organisation provides. So, I love this picture. There's Jane. She was about, I don't know, 4 or 5 months pregnant. And I won't even tell you what made her laugh, but yeah, I love that photo. It's brilliant. I'm very proud to be the chairman of the under 40s. I really, really am. And again, 2017, it marks our 50th anniversary. So my aim was really to up the profile of the under 40s. It was to encourage young people to come and join us. So, we'll be engaging with a couple of the local, some of the colleges, the farming universities. We've got a few people actually coming, and we're looking. I really want to give to those people what it gave to me. And in some respects, when I look back, I started in the under 40s when I was 32, and I thought, oh, great, I've only got 8 years, and really, I should have really started sort of 10 years back. Again, the previous speaker, he spoke a little bit about, for me, it's doing something different. Now, I whistled in defiance because people said, you can't take all those people to South Africa. It won't be done. Well, that picture of us is us on our recce in February of this year. And next February, we'll be having 55 people out there. And I just said, sod it, we're just going to work and we're going to make this happen. So we did. Oh, and yeah, not just yet. Does it go back one? Oh, I've done this wrong. Can someone... I've clicked the wrong way. And I'm going to click the wrong way again. Oh, no, I'm not. That did work that time. I'm no good with technology. Absolutely not. So South Africa 2017. So as growers, we have a quiet time of year, and that's usually in the early months of the year. And traditionally, with our Biennial Conference, it's every 2 years we'll go somewhere abroad. And to be honest, it's bloody freezing. I don't want to go. I mean, all due respect, Italy was lovely, Spain was lovely, Benelux was lovely, Poland was lovely, and really interesting. But when you're standing in an orchard, February time, and the rain's lashing down, or perhaps the rain's going sideways, and you're trying to hear a grower, I could think of slightly warmer climes to take that to. So we're going to do that. Now, we're pretty much booked up. We've got only about 3 or 4 spaces left. And we've allocated, it's 36 spaces to growers, and then the rest make up, other parts of the industry, which also they are sponsors. So we're going to be visiting growers, pack houses, but I think we need to look at some more current issues. So we're going to South Africa. We've got links there with the Department of Trade and Industry, and we're going to meet some of the guys there. So we're looking at the effects of globalisation. We're looking at the effects of export. Under, Brexit, we've got to look at, other places that we could, build sort of trade with. So, it's talking with those guys. Water efficiency. The poor buggers out there haven't had a drop of water in ages. Things were drying up, and they are quite heavy into, actually, the orchard which we were standing in, this was at Boschendale, and what a great backdrop, Okay, it's an orchard, but you've got a beautiful mountain range behind. And Jack, he was the farmer that ran that, and he would literally pull out his phone, and he would check with an app. And again, this is going with Generation Z. He would be checking with an app, and he'd say, well, this orchard's a bit dry. Press a button, next thing, there's this pump starting up. And for me, that was fantastic. Reducing waste, it's a big thing for me. If ever you sit next to me, my plate will be empty. My wife will say, you don't need any more, but I can't waste anything. And as far as it goes as a business, reducing waste is something which is very important to me. And having only been in a managerial position for the last 4 weeks, it's something that I'm heavily focused on. So I'm going to watch this space with our business. Whilst we were out there on our recce in February this year, there were quite a few growers we met, and some of them were under 40, and they didn't actually have a network. So there we were, and we were thinking, do you know what? Let's give it a go. So actually, on our opening night when we get there, we're going to do a traditional South African braai, and we're actually going to invite a whole load of young under 40s growers and people of that industry, and get them together and just say, look, guys. And they were saying, this is great what you guys have got. And I said, well, why haven't you got it? Well, why? And that's what you've got to do. And you've always got to be asking the next question. So, yeah, it could well happen. For me, New Horizons. It's something that the under 40s has done for me, and I'm incredibly indebted to it. It's things like the National Fruit Show. So it's a voluntary committee, and their aim is to present and represent the best of British fruit, established a few years back, but not quite as long ago as our farm. And every October we have a big show. I say big show, it makes this show look pretty small, but it's very significant. We're the largest, we basically have the biggest display of fruit in the UK when we get it all together. It's 60 metres, so that's quite some display. I've been a member since 2015, and again, that was off the back of being elected as the under 40s chairman. Then I went to a fruit show meeting, and they said, do you want to get involved with us lot? And it's just a natural progression. So March 2016, this year, they asked me to be junior vice chairman. So the fruit show's been going a while. I'm aiming to step up to chairmanship around its sort of 100th year anniversary. And also really proud to be a part of Apple World, which is something run in conjunction with National Fruit Show, in conjunction with Tesco's, and one of my friends, Samantha Smith, and I've been several times. We go to local schools, and it's really, again, it's engaging with the next generation of customers. It's engaging with that grassroots level. It's really, we've got to think about educating the next generation, and this is a part of it. It's a part of showing, we want to show the importance of what's great about eating fresh produce. And this is just another avenue of doing it. Now, off the back of London Produce Show, Tommy introduced me to these guys, and again, run by volunteers. It's redistributing the fruit or veg, whatever they glean, to where it's needed most. So we had in October about 50 people come down to the farm, and 7 tons were picked at the end of the day of Bramley apples. We had BBC One down there also. They were filming. So only last week, the big food rescue, I was on that, and I was just talking about food waste and how we need to combat that. And it's great as well. It's a fantastic feel-good factor for everyone that's involved, whether it's volunteers, whether it's the farmers that they go to, because when this food, this produce is redistributed, it's going to, a variety of charities. It's going to women's refuges. It's going to education programs, homeless shelters, and I think it's fantastic. Oh, again, and I think I pressed that one too many times, and it will go back. Don't worry, not too many more slides. Nearly done. So yeah, Open Farm Sunday. Again, it's all about engaging with the current consumer, the next generation. And we've done this 3 years now. It's been going in total 10 years. So Google it, get your phones out, check out Open Farm Sunday. It's the first Sunday of June every year. So yeah, 3 years. We were overwhelmed in the first year when we had 400 people turn up on our doorstep. Well, next year was 1,000, and then this year was 2,000. It was amazing. It was fun. I stand on the welcome desk, and just to see the people coming in, it was just hordes and hordes of people, and I would stand there, I'd have an A4 sheet, double-sided, and it'd be printed out with different things that we'd have on for the day, and those would consist of, we'd have tractor and trailer rides. We ended up having 2 big agricultural tractors with, 10-ton trailers on the back, open-sided, and they would be going from 10:30 in the morning, perhaps even 10 o'clock, right the way through to about 4:30 or 5, and they would chock-a-block the whole day. We had things like nature trails where the kids would take a walk through the orchards, and we'd have different things hung up in the tree, and they'd go on like a little kind of nature trail treasure hunt and find out clues to, different insects, and great stuff, great stuff. We'd have our shepherd, he was there, he was doing wood turning. We'd have another guy there who was making cider from our apples. We'd have the local beekeeper there, and it was all about, the ecology. It was all about different elements and make up what country life is. We even had design your own sausage competition, which was quite interesting. And we actually do run some of the sausages in the butchery afterwards. So we'll all sit round and we'll say, well, I don't really like the idea of scrambled egg, baked beans, and bacon in my sausage, but something like ginger, spring onion sounds really nice. Something like a pork and Stilton sausage, a lamb, mint and coriander sausage. So yeah, it works, and people come back because of that. They come back and they buy those sausages. We did consider this last year, and another farm has done it, and it's all about the different generations. Now, our generation would look at this and go, ugh. Interestingly, it was done on another farm, and the youngsters, they were quite interested about it, and Marks & Spencer sponsored it, and it was a full-size cow, plastic one, and they actually drew the different cuts of meat on it. And the kids could see where, the sirloin came from, where the rump was. Well, obviously, it's in the name, but and it was quite surprising, when you gauging their reaction, that they weren't fazed by it so much. Yet the parents were, and I think sometimes we need to sort of get rid of a little bit of that, and it does really highlight something that I think it's very important getting across to that next generation. The London Produce Show, the New York Produce Show, I met Tommy again. It was off the back of the under 40s, and he said, I've got an idea, and I sat there with the chair of the National Fruit Show. And she said, we all said, why don't we link the 3 together? And we've been trying to do that. It's nothing official, but I know someone who does this, and he knows someone who does that, and let's just make it happen. So we're actually combining those three, it's quite a formidable force, and it possibly provides one of the biggest networks that we've got in the UK that the young people of our industry can utilise. We went to the London Produce Show. We were completely blown away. We hadn't really heard an awful lot about it before, and it was actually trying to kind of sell it to some of the growers. But the growers that came, and it was in a reasonably busy-ish time of year. People, starting to get quite into their spray programs. Harvest was getting close for some of the cherry growers, but we got a good 20 people there. And the top there, the top slide is actually, is who we could actually grab at that time and take a photo of. But they were absolutely blown away. It was a fantastic show. I've got no doubt this will be as well. But you guys at the New York Produce Show, the London Produce Show, your attention to detail is phenomenal. And this is how all produce shows should be run. It was brilliant. Now, again, bottom slide there, we made a couple of great contacts. One of them I've already done a slide on. That was the Fair Share guys. But Max, he's on the bottom slide in the grey jumper next to the lady in the orange coat. Max is an ex-under 40s, and he is travelling on a bike from Spitalfields, England, right the way down to Cape Town, and he's stopping off different producers, farmers, and it's all about highlighting that need for us to be eating more fresh produce. The lady in the orange, she's the chair of the National Fruit Show, and then you've got a couple others of the committee, and actually Tommy's there as well. So yeah, it was a fantastic opportunity that gave us as well, getting to know those guys. Now, a little bit of what I'm doing at the moment, and maybe there'll be more of this on the way, but about a couple of weeks ago I met a guy called Ben Williams. He was a friend of a friend, very, very passionate about food, which I loved. He's worked at the 2 Michelin star, The Square in Mayfair. He's also run Reed's Restaurant, which isn't too far from us. He's worked fairly high end, and now he's part of the Yarra Hotel, and then that's where we've got, it's run by East Kent College and him. And you've got a whole load of students, and they are learning all about restaurant, being a restaurateur, being a chef, hotelier. And he said, you guys have got great produce. Is there a way of also using some of your waste produce? And this is our possibly one of our next chapters. And I always say, if you don't try it, you never know. So a couple of the projects that we've got going, there's the ice cider. I don't know if any of you guys have heard of it, but I certainly hadn't. It's about leaving, for example, the Bramley apple on a tree till the first frost. Now, that first frost changes what's going on inside that Bramley apple. Now, when that Bramley apple is pressed, you're not just getting a cider, you're getting what they call an ice cider. And the ice cider is likened to, let's say, a dessert wine, which you pair with your cheese at the end of a meal. So we're going to give that a go. We also might do that with plums, pears, and also he's going to be putting our apples in Christmas puddings. But what's really great is, and it's not only a great opportunity for the local chefs who are learning here at East Kent College, Yarra Hotel, there's a great opportunity for us, because the way I look at it, it's a long game. So they're using some of our meat, they're using some of our potatoes, fruit, they're reducing waste, they're going to turn stuff around that possibly would just be tipped out in a field, and will make a profit from it. And they'll also, they'll learn about reducing waste, they'll learn a trade, they'll learn. So yeah, I'm really excited about this. So again, if I come back next year, there might be a whole bit about this. Anyway, I've got to stop now. Finally, it's stopped working. It doesn't like me. It does now. End note. So, similar to the previous speaker, we've got to challenge things. We've got to be a little bit different. We've got to think outside the box. And when I said about South Africa, people laughed at me. You won't be able to do that. And you only need 1 or 2 people to follow you. Then you're not the madman. You're the leader. And yeah, 55 people in Cape Town next year. It should be pretty awesome. Cohesion. the under-40s, it's not just a group of guys and girls getting together. I've made some, in fact, some of my best friends, I think, within this short space of time. And it's literally been, you know, about 4 or 5 years. And of those people, yeah, they're all part of the industry. It makes that, it's so fluid, it's so easy just to, if you've got something on your mind, you're not sure whether it's, you know, the legalities of something, whether it's something that's broken down, you've always got someone there to pick up the phone and talk to. So that then follows on to the next thing. It's not what you know, it's who you know. And, you know, when I was young, the silver spoon, everyone went, ooh, you know, there's Charlie, he's farmer's boy, he's daddy's boy. But, you know, sorry, but I'm very proud of the farm. And I was born with a silver spoon, but I think it's what you do with it that counts. And, you know, to come here and to be here, it's what you do with it that counts, and it's making a difference. Innovation, you know, you've got to be different. You've got to be different in this industry. You've got to make that next step. You've got to inspire people, and hopefully, you know, like I say, with the under-40s, every 2 years we'll have a complete reshuffle. So I won't be chairman next year. Someone else will be. Someone else deserves a chance. But hopefully, with what we're doing right here, right now, you know, and sort of spreading the word, broadening our horizons, up in the profile, it's going to give them a great chance, and that's why, you know, I'm doing what I'm doing here. And like a great recipe, everything that we've got, this history, those pictures there, it's like a good meal. You can't make a silk purse out of settles here. You've got to start with something good. You've got to start with a story, and it's something that people engage with. And that's, you know, the biggest thing for me is engaging with your customers, whether it be the current customers right now, whether it be the customers of the future, whether it be the old ladies down the market. You know, they're all equally important, and we need to respect that. You know, yes, we need to look at future horizons. Yes, we need to understand, you know, but we've got people around right now that also we need to understand, and their ideas and their visions and their wants and needs, they might change as well. So, it will work. Thank you. Thank you, London Produce Show. Thank you, everybody. It's been a pleasure. Sure. Yeah. No worries. No worries.
A couple of thoughts, questions.
Don't be shy.
John?
Oh, yeah, go for it. John, make sure you introduce yourself first, okay? You didn't last time.
I'm John Pandel. I'm with Pandel Brothers in Central California. We're grape growers, importers from South America, traders, longtime produce characters. In the United States, we have a lot of leadership programs designed for 25 to 40-year-old ag. A lot of them have a political component. Does your group do anything with politics, either with Parliament or go down to Brussels? Not anymore. Final farewell tour.
Yeah, Brexit. No, we don't. Well, saying that actually, this is where hopefully it's going to change a little bit. We're meeting people from the Department of Trade and Industry out in South Africa. We're in touch with some of the people from the British Chamber of Commerce as well in the UK. So, yeah, I suppose we're not necessarily making you know, not purposely going out to meet those people, but it kind of has all rolled into what we are doing. So there is an element of that, no doubt, there is an element. I think there was someone else, was there? Yeah.
Dr. Adal Hussain, will Liberty TV food and wine channel, For my 5 years I've been coming here, I have to say your speech was probably one of the most passionate speech.
Nailed it.
Teary-eyed and
Yeah,
so
back
I
with
know
you.
you're very serious as a fellow Brit, being born in England myself, so really appreciate it. So my question to you is, in your organization, which you mentioned, do you have many other people from different cultures who are part of your organization, and are they also engaged in farming and so forth? If you can maybe shed a little light on that, sir.
Well, from the people who are actually going away on the trip in February, we've got quite a few guys from Eastern Europe, so we've noticed that, you know, we rely heavily on people coming over, seasonal workers from Eastern Europe, and we've had quite a few of those guys who've done well, and in fact one of the guys, Peter, he's actually he's the manager for Gotham's, which is one of the biggest growers in the UK, top fruit growers in the UK. So we've got people from Eastern Europe coming, probably 5 or 6. We've got a fellow South African who came over to the UK. He's my vice chairman actually, and we've got a Facebook page. I'm really bad with technology. I've got to pay a bit more attention to our Facebook page, but we do get likes from all over the world, and it's almost that ripple effect, you know, because someone knows someone knows someone else, someone else's name will get tagged in, and they'll like what we're doing. So it's been quite UK centric. It hasn't really gone further afield other than near sort of Europe. We haven't gone any further. South Africa is the big step now. So hopefully, what I'd like to be, you know, my current chairmanship is to actually be a catalyst for the countries that maybe don't have an under-40s, like you know, Southern Cape, that area, to actually be that part of the, you know, the next step for them. But yeah, being something international, it's maybe what I will aspire to.
Okay, we'll do one more question.
My name's Laura. I'm from Newcastle University in the UK. I just wondered, you talk about making a network with people already in farming in the UK.
Yeah.
But do you think about involving like graduates from universities in the UK, potentially like placement schemes, getting them involved from the start before they're actually in the industry?
Yes. We have actually got, we've got one guy, his name's Will Jarvis, and he came from Hadlow. It is something that I have been aware of, and we have stretched out to Plumpton and also Harper. But if there are universities out there, I mean, you know, the door is always open. But saying that, going back to Will Jarvis, he is a student from Hadlow. He now works at GHD Farms, and he was also funded by the fruitiers. So for me, I mean, that ticks a lot of boxes. But again, that's also, you know, what I have with our business at home on the farm is the grassroots. I believe for the under-40s, we should be engaging with the universities. And I'll say we have engaged with some of the farming universities, and it's something I want the next committee after me, when I relinquish the crown in sort of February, March of next year, that I will be pushing onto the next committee to do. But yes, I'm very glad at least we've got one person from one of the farming colleges to come. Yeah.
All right, thank you so very much.